Hello dear students, today we're going to have critical analysis for our novel The Outsiders. The Outsiders was written by a teenager about the story of other teenagers. It is told in a first-person narration style. Ponyboy is narrating it for us and he is only 14 years old. This story deals with issues that are very close to the hearts of teens, whether in the 1960s or even nowadays. Ponyboy is our narrator, and we see the event through his eyes. He takes us through a 2-week period that will shape the rest of his life. Actually, there is no adult character prominent in this novel. Ponyboy and his two brothers are living together on their own after the death of their parents in a car accident. The story focuses on teens, and it also touches every adult who reads it because the emotions and the struggles between the characters are universal. This novel is set in the 1960s in Oklahoma. The time period of the story is the same as the actual time it was written. One of the most important qualities that can help teens establish their own identities is the ability to fit in. Finding friends who understand their problems and relate to them is paramount for teenagers. The novel is built around the class division between the Socs, who are the rich kids, and the Greasers, who are the poor ones. The members of many small neighborhood gangs identify themselves as Greasers. We find that the main characters here, we have Ponyboy, Dari, Soda Pop, the three brothers. Then we have Two-Bit, Steve, Dally, and Johnny Cade, which all of them make a small gang of Greasers. Now let's come to two themes which are very important in this novel. The first theme is belonging to a gang, which gives a teen an extended family. And that family automatically understands him, which is usually different from the family into which he was born. Gang membership also means that you are accepted. You are not an outsider. You are on the inside with at least one group. The other theme is life isn't fair. The idea that life isn't fair is based entirely on one's perspective, actually. Whether life is unfair to the Greasers, the main character's perspective, or to the Socs, the rivals group perspective, is a question that is recurrent in the novel. Rarely is injustice seen equally by all eyes. And here we have character chart for all the characters involved in the novel. Ponyboy is the youngest member of the Greasers, and he is the one who narrates the novel for us. Ponyboy theorizes on the motivations and personalities of his friends and describes events in a slangy, youthful voice. Though only 14 years old, he understands the way his social group functions and the role each group member plays. He sees that Two-Bit is a wisecracker, Dari the natural leader, and Dally the dangerous hood. Ponyboy dislikes the Socs, whom we see through his subjective viewpoint. The distorting effects of hatred and group rivalry make his narration less than objective. Of course, it is subjective. Ponyboy is young enough to have changeable conceptions of people, however, and over the course of the novel, he realizes that the Socs have problems just as the Greasers do. He also comes to see that the Socs are even similar to the Greasers in some ways. Ponyboy has a literary bent, which Hinton uses to show that poverty does not necessarily mean poorness or lack of culture, and that gang members are not always delinquents. Ponyboy identifies with Pip, the impoverished protagonist of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, cites the Robert Frost poem, Nothing Gold Can Stay, and introduces Johnny to the Southern gentleman of Margaret Mitchell's Southern epic, Gone with the Wind. With such an awareness of literary protagonist, Ponyboy sees himself as he is, as both character and narrator. He takes on the narrator's work of recounting events and the character's work of growing and changing as a result of those events. The novel is not just a story of gang rivalry, it is an account of Ponyboy's development himself. Johnny Cade is a vulnerable 16-year-old greaser in a group defined by toughness and a sense of invincibility. He comes from an abusive home, and he takes to the greasers because they are his only reliable family. While Johnny needs the greasers also need Johnny, for protecting him gives them a sense of purpose and justifies their violent measures. When Johnny, little and vulnerable, suffers at the hands of the Socials, the greasers feel justified in their hatred of the rival gang. Passive and quiet, Johnny is the principal catalyst for the major events of the novel. He stands up to Dali at the drive-in and tells him to stop harassing the two Social girls, Sherry and Marcia. Johnny's intervention on the girls' behalf pleases the girls, and they talk and walk with the greasers. This interaction between female Socials and the male greasers sparks the anger of the Social boys and motivates them to attack Johnny and Ponyboy. Ultimately, Johnny's small acts of courage lead to murder, death, and heroic rescue. But Johnny ends by advocating against gang violence, stating that he would gladly sacrifice his life for the lives of little children. Although a gentle boy, he has a profound impact with his startling, persistent demand for peace. His courage is rescuing the children from the burning church, and his subsequent death as a result of injuries sustained in the rescue make him like a martyr. Ponyboy's decision to write the story that becomes The Outsiders ensures that Johnny's bravery will not be forgotten. Now let's come to Soda Pop. Soda Pop is the middle of the three Kurtz brothers. He is energetic, disinterested in school, and he looks like a movie star. Ponyboy describes his idealization for Soda Pop from the very beginning. In contrast to his distant and tense relationship with Dari, Ponyboy's relationship with Soda Pop is one of admiration and intimacy. Both boys share a bed, and Soda Pop serves as a symbolic security blanket for Ponyboy, especially since their parents' death. Soda Pop's happy-go-lucky personality easily masks his inner turmoil. After finding out that Soda Pop is upset because his letters to Sandy went unanswered, Ponyboy realizes that he has never paid much attention to Soda Pop's problems. At the end of the novel, Soda Pop is the character who finally unites the Kurtz family again, after he breaks down in tears over his brothers' constant fighting together. He reminds Dari and Ponyboy that they ought to be able to stick together against everything, since they are all they have left family-wise. The brothers agree to stop fighting so that they can stay together. Because of Soda Pop, Ponyboy is able to look more favorably upon Dari and realize how much his oldest brother has sacrificed for their family. Dari. Dari is the oldest of the Kurtz brothers, becoming the father figure to Ponyboy and Soda Pop after their parents die in a car accident. Dari gives up the possibility of going to college and playing football so that he can take a job to afford his family. Despite his hard-working nature and ability to differentiate right from wrong, Dari also loves fighting and is proud to use his strong body to defend the other greasers. Ponyboy finds it difficult to understand Dari, who often seems too harsh and restrictive. When Dari slaps Ponyboy during an argument, Ponyboy runs outside to walk with Johnny, where they are jumped by Socials and Johnny killed Bob. Over the course of the novel, however, Ponyboy comes to understand how much Dari has sacrificed for him, and how worried he is that Ponyboy and Soda Pop will be removed from his guardianship. By novel's end, Ponyboy realizes that Dari isn't even a full-grown adult yet, and he can feel scared or hurt and as lost as the rest of them. Dali Winston, another member of the Greasers. He has been in gangs in New York City before joining the Greasers. He is Ponyboy's least favorite member of the gang at the very beginning of the novel, and Ponyboy considers him to be tougher, colder, and meaner. Johnny and Pony turn to Dali when they need help, escaping after Johnny kills Bob. Dali is there for them, giving Ponyboy literally the coat off his own back. Through these actions, the readers are able to actually like Dali. His life experiences seem to have chosen the path for him. The person inside of him never has a chance. Now let's come to Cherry Valance. Before Cherry Valance enters the narrative, Ponyboy paints the conflict between the Greasers and the Socials as irreconcilable. The introduction of Cherry, however, suggests that individual friendships can chip away at group hatred. Cherry gets along perfectly well with some of the Greasers. She likes Ponyboy and Johnny because they treat her politely. Dali's rude actions do not amuse her. Her disenchantment with Dali's behavior suggests that she talks to Ponyboy and Johnny not because she is slumming and their Greaser identity fascinates her, but rather because she likes them as individuals. For a short while at least, she cares more about how each boy behaves than about his West Side or East Side address. Cherry is not just a sweet, simple girl. Despite all her attraction to the Greasers, she is not completely free of group prejudice. She tells Ponyboy she probably will not say hello to him at school, acknowledging that her respects social divisions. Although Cherry plays a relatively small role in the novel, the ambiguity of her sympathies gives us something to which we can relate. She mirrors our own perspective as someone close to the action who is nevertheless an outsider and who does not always fully understand other characters' emotions and motivations. And finally, dear student, this is something for you. You are very special students, and you should know how I like to have you in my care, how fast the year did go. Please come back to visit me. As through the grades you go, try hard to learn all that you can. There is so much to know. One thing I try to teach you, to last your whole life through, is to know you are special just because you are you.